Are ginger people so-called black people? I mean, first of all, we have to realize that black is not a race. There's no black land. And, black is a byword. As we can see right here, we have Eastern Afghanistan. They have their gingers. Then you have China. They have their gingers, or people with pale skin and red hair. Now, right here it states Negro, the only people who has no knowledge of his or her true heritage. Black is not a country or nationality. It's a color, aka a crayon. What's your nationality? So right here it states, white scientists tell us the presence of albinism genes in ancient humans to tell if they were white like modern Europeans, all the while denying that modern Europeans are albinos, or rather derived from the original Central Asian albinos who invaded Europe. To be clear, most modern Europeans are not pure albinos. Rather, they are various levels of mulattoes derived from the original Dramatic Slavs and Turk albinos who invaded Europe, and the black Europeans they encountered as they entered Europe. And the Moors fucked a lot, okay? They fucked a lot of white women or Caucasian women. This is where you get all this admixture. So right here it states, young albino girl, typical of the original Central Asian dramatics who invaded Europe, described thusly by the Roman historian Cornelius Tacitus, 56 through 118 AD. The same physical peculiarities throughout so vast a population. They all have fierce blue eyes and red hair. Okay, and right here to the right, a modern woman of Southern Europe, Italy. And to create that, phase 3, the only way you get from 3 to 3 is right here with the so-called black man and the bed wench, at least, back in the medieval or dark ages, the so-called white woman. Okay, so as we can see in this clip, the Bahata tribe of Pakistan still produces albinos identical to the original Caucasians. And of course, you see they have ginger or red hair. Okay. But are they so-called black people? No, they're not. Okay. Every quote-unquote seed line can produce a redhead. Our people produce redhead or ginger people as well. They will be considered so-called black people. I don't know why the Negro over here in the Americas want to group everyone or invite everyone to the fucking cookout. So 2 so-called black people produce this entertainer or comedian named Sinbad, right? And these were his parents, 2 Negroid or 2 so-called black, his parents, okay? We can produce many different shades, okay? And our people, so-called black people, the male and the female can produce various shades. Any of these colors they can produce, whether it be from the lightest or to the swarthiest, meaning the darkest. So right here we have an illustration, wife protesting husband's departure. Of course, this is a man of color, copper, and a so-called white woman or ginger woman, right, with red hair. The Drivian albinos also invaded black Europe around 1200 BC. They caused a lot of trouble, but black numbers were sufficient to keep them in check. Over time, these albino invaders were absorbed into black European societies. So in the beginning of the book right here, it states, and I'm quoting from the biblical scriptures, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people. Genesis 25 and 23. And also states, Beijing, June 9th, Chinese scientists are hot on the trail of a mysterious hairy wild man, keyword hairy wild man, and have found indirect evidence that might prove the reclusive human-like creature is no myth. Exana News Agency said on Friday, Rutgers, 1995. So even they are quoting biblical, scriptures with non-secular, with a non-secular book. Now, when we go to the Blue Letter Bible, they know Esau equals hairy, okay, or hirsute. In this book, The Wild Man, Medieval Myth and Symbolism by Timothy Husband. And they know it's not a myth, okay? They try to turn their real history into a mythos, okay? Because remember, so-called black people, we've been learning all our lives about history based on his story, okay? Of course, you've been on my page long enough. I use this frequently, the 14 Tapestry of the Moors, the wild man storming the castles in the medieval, quote-unquote, dark ages, okay? Like the Bible states, there's nothing new under the sun. You see a lot of the Moors, Negroes, wearing bandanas, having bows, protecting the castle, the king and the queen from the disease, cannibalistic wild man, okay? And this is how they are depicted. Right here, we have a wild folk family engraving, Germany, 1470 through 90. But people want to get online and talk about, blacks not being knights, squares, dukes, kings, or whatnot. Oh, the only kings in Europe were white people. Why the fuck do you have a picture right here of this family, a so-called Caucasian, a wild family, sitting here butt naked, poor as I don't know what, in Europe, in Germany, okay? Harry. So right here we have another illustration. Byzantine Emperor Manuel I and his second wife, Maria of Antioch, 1118 through 1180, Vatican Library. Notice she has red hair, or she's a ginger. There's nothing new under the sun, right? So right here is two examples, Eastern Afghanistan and the people of China, two ginger boys, and of course a woman with red hair or recessive genes. Pale skin equals recessive genes. Here's how the black Roman historian Tacitus described these strange people. He called them peculiar, albinos, as they were coming into Europe. So right here we have an example of an interracial couple, a so-called white man or Edomite, and a Negroid or Negro woman of color. Black hair comes as straight, wavy, or curly, nappy hair. So with this interracial union, you do have Edomites or Caucasians of color. And of course, look at the woman or girl up top with the red hair, okay? The man is the seed line, Jacob's seed. This is why the Bible states, through my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Bible's telling you it's a patriarchal book, not a matriarchal book, okay? Yeah, you say you want to say you're black through your mother because you have some African or black genes. That's fine, do you? But when it comes to the Bible, the starting line is the so-called black man, okay? Israel is a speckled bird, okay? You got Israelites that look like Caucasian people or have intermixture or mixture of blood. So, here's another example of Nigerian parents with their third child, okay? And the third child coming out with what? Recessive genes, the lighter skin and the blonde hair, okay? Now we're going to look at this book, True Myth, Black Vikings of the Middle Ages. So now we're on page 305, and it states, like the authors of History and Geography of Human Genes, Eurocentric DNA scientists are attempting to validate assertions of pre-DNA scholars regarding the demography, ingenuity, and intrinsic superiority of white people. While they admit their studies show that all humans retain a gene or genes which indicate an African origin, they imply that Caucasians are somehow an advanced type in human development. Okay. Yeah, right. Even though a study of all Caucasians would reveal admixtures of various black and dark-skinned peoples in their genetic makeup, even if the genetic makeup in some Caucasians does not reveal admixture with black or dark-skinned people in the last 100, 200, 500,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 years, then the African gene or genes would still be present from the long ago epoch when African albinoids, who had lost their ability to produce melanin, were cast out of black skinned societies in ancient Europe. Okay. Asia and Africa, which DNA research has confirmed was the birthplace of all modern humans, allegedly.